In December 2003, a man was pulled from a hole in the ground, disheveled, silent, defeated. That man was Saddam Hussein, the ruler of Iraq for nearly 25 years. The world believed his capture marked the end of Iraq's nightmare. But what if that moment wasn't the end? What if it was only the beginning of something far worse? Because removing a dictator is one thing, rebuilding a country afterward is something else entirely. This is the story of Iraq after Saddam. Before the war, Iraq was not a democracy, but it was a state. Borders were controlled, institutions functioned, security, though brutal, was absolute. Saddam ruled through fear, but also through structure. The army existed, the police existed, the government existed. And when that structure disappeared, so did everything holding Iraq together. In March 2003, the United States and its allies invaded Iraq. The justification? Weapons of mass destruction, ties to terrorism. The invasion succeeded. Baghdad fell in weeks, statues came down, the regime collapsed. Saddam was gone. And for a brief moment, it looked like the war had been won. But one decision, made quietly on paper, would shape Iraq's future more than any bomb ever dropped. The US-led authority disbanded the Iraqi army. Hundreds of thousands of armed men, trained, angry, unemployed, were sent home. At the same time, police disappeared, borders opened, looting spread. Iraq didn't just lose a dictator, it lost order. And into that vacuum, chaos rushed in. Iraq is deeply divided, Sunni, Shia, Kurdish. Under Saddam, these tensions were suppressed. After Saddam, they exploded. Bombings became daily, militias formed, neighborhoods turned against each other. By 2006, Iraq was in a civil war, not against foreign forces, but against itself. As communities turned against each other, something else was forming in the shadows. Not a protest, not a political movement, but a force that would reshape the entire Middle East. It began as Al-Qaeda in Iraq. Later, it became ISIS. The collapse of the Iraqi state gave extremists territory, weapons, recruits. What started as a war to remove a dictator had created something even more dangerous. While Iraq burned, Saddam Hussein sat in a courtroom. The man who once ruled everything was now on trial, even as the country he left behind continued to unravel. The proceedings were tense, political, and deeply symbolic. In 2006, he was executed. For some Iraqis, it felt like justice. For others, it felt like revenge. But for the country itself, nothing changed. The violence continued, the instability deepened, because Iraq's problem was no longer one man. Over time, Iraq formed a new government. Elections were held, institutions slowly returned. But corruption spread, militias gained power, foreign influence grew. Iraq survived, but it never fully recovered. Millions were displaced, hundreds of thousands died, and trust was shattered. Years passed, governments changed, violence slowed, but never stopped. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Removing Saddam ended a dictatorship, but it also destroyed the system holding Iraq together. Stability was traded for uncertainty. Order was replaced with fragmentation. So the real question isn't, was Saddam evil? The question is, what happens when power disappears with nothing ready to replace it? Iraq today is not the Iraq of Saddam, but it's also not the future many hoped for. His fall proved something history keeps repeating. Ending tyranny is only step one. What comes next can define a nation for generations. And if this story sounds familiar, it's because Iraq wasn't the last place this happened.